Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing something a little different on the channel. It's Foretales, which was released a couple of days ago on Steam. I picked it up and I was planning to feature it in a few days when a couple of the other series that I've been running on the channel are due to end. But I played the tutorial this morning and I just thought, you know what, this is so good, this is so much fun that I want to feature it as soon as possible. So I'm going to put up a video today and see if you guys like it. So what is this? It's a narrative adventure that kind of plays out through the medium of cards. If you've played something like Hand of Fate 1 or 2, that it's kind of a similar thing, but without the 3D battles that you have in there. Everything here is via cards. I won't really explain too much more than that. It's better just to see it in action, I think. So we're going to play, and we're going to start a new save. So, first of all, we move to a region, and we're given a region card, and each chapter, each mission, is made up of several regions. So our first one here is called A Mysterious Patron. Volepain, which is our character, needs money to help his father and the local miners. His friend Leo says there's someone in town with a very lucrative job offer. So we'll click on this region card, and then it's going to lay some different locations out on the table for us. What I'll probably do is just skip the tutorial messages and just explain things myself as and when they come up. This is it, Volepain, our ticket to the easy life. One last job and our days of stealing apples from the market are behind us. That's what you said the last time. So who is this contact of yours? His name's Timothy. He says he has work for people like us. And you're sure he can pay? Because I could really do with the money right now. Don't worry, he promised a hefty reward. Should be more than enough to help your father and the miners with their strike. And for me to take early retirement. He's just a little, well, difficult to track down in town sometimes. We'd better ask around then.
He looks like a good place to start.
Good day to you, young bird. How can I be of assistance?
We're looking for someone by the name of Timothy.
Ah, I see. A very secretive fellow is he. I think I heard something about him the other day, but sadly my memory isn't what it once was.
Right. And what might jog your memory, I wonder?
Oh, a bite to eat usually does the trick. About 5 food should be sufficient.
5 food? That's enough for a few days.
Ignore my friend here. We'll come back with some food for you.
We already have 1 food, just 4 to go. So we're going to just skip those, and I'll explain a few things. So these are our different locations. We have a sort of a main mission objective on the board, and 2 other locations, which is a marketplace and an apple merchant. This is our a deck of location cards. So as we use ones that are on the table, this deck will gradually cycle through, and it will recycle as well, instead of being completely exhausted. Also on the board, we have in the bottom left, these are our skill cards that are attached to each of our 2 adventurers currently. We can see from the numbers in their character cards that Volepain, our character, has 7 skills in his deck, and Leo has 9. And these do exhaust, so you can recharge them by resting, which we'll be introduced to shortly. But basically, as you use a skill to interact with the cards that are on the table, they're sort of placed in like a little graveyard type thing there. And you recover them through resting and moving on to different regions. On the right side here at the bottom, we've got our consumable resources, which we can add to and use to get certain different effects from the locations we're visiting. So we've got gold, food, fame, which is pretty self-explanatory, and what's called grim. And what this is, it's like infamy, I suppose. So it says theft, murder, violence, and general lawlessness. A reputation like that guarantees respect among outlaws and makes law-abiding citizens quake in their boots, so we can use it to intimidate people or influence more criminal figures. And other stuff as we find it, like objects and other temporary characters, will sort of be added to our little consumables deck down here. These are the rest cards, but we'll introduce those later. We won't worry about that for now. So we know here our main objective is to find 5 food for the beggar here. We currently have 1, so what can we do about that? Well, if we highlight over the apple merchant, for example, some of the cards at the bottom are also highlighted. So we know that if we use this gold card, we can interact with the apple merchant. And it says if you just hold the mouse while you're doing this and just kind of hover it over this card without releasing the button, it says that we can consume our 2 gold, we've only got 2, and gain 2 food. We can use our fame on him and just, charm him with our famous names to give us 2 food, which is an option. We also have some options down in the skill cards down here. This is Leo firing an aimed shot. We can kill the merchant effectively and steal all his food, which is a bit hardcore, I suppose, for this early in the game. This is our nimble hands, which is basically our character's stealing or pickpocketing ability. And if we hover that over there, we can see that we just get 3 food through using this, which I think I'm going to do. So we're going to add 3 food to our consumable decks. Smooth, he didn't notice a thing.
It tastes better when it's free.
So that Apple Merchant location card is used up, and we're given a new one. Pretty much explained all that already. So this is a poor district. The population here are in dire need of help, but can also offer assistance if they're asked nicely enough. So again, we can do a few things. We can offer money, gain 2 fame, if we toss them a gold coin. We could offer them food, although we are trying to gather food, so that is not a great option for us. Leo has something called a rallying cry skill, and if we do this, it means that we'll summon a small crowd around us and gain a fame. So actually that might be worth doing at first. Over here! So we gain a fame and a small crowd has appeared. Leo's mighty roar drew a crowd of curious townsfolk. And now we can do different things that they're here. Again, we could throw them a coin. Gain 4 fame for 2 coins. Food. We also have this eavesdrop card. I could eavesdrop on them and receive some local chit-chat. Might be interesting. Let's actually do that. Good to know. Alright, so now we have this local chit-chat card. A little morsel of gossip heard around town. It isn't worth much, but it's a conversation starter at least. Right, old well. So we could use Leo's survivor sense, and this kind of helps you gather food. So if I use that in this location at the marketplace, we'll get 2 food. If I use it here, we'll gain a food and a gold, which I'm actually going to do. Oh, this looks like a good spot to refill our canteens. So now we've got the 5 food we needed, plus an extra gold. My wish came true. Okay, I think we've got enough food now. Let's see what this guy knows. Lead the way. Right, location used up. What do we get instead? This is...
I don't know what you did to wind them up, but they look mad.
So some of the cards we open are going to have enemies on them. And that doesn't necessarily mean we end up in combat. We can use these different cards and skills at our disposal to weaken them enough so the rest run away, or just not fight in the encounter. So that you can click on the group and see what you're up against. And the red number is their health. The number here is how much damage they'll do to your heroes, and it kind of works that if you are fighting, they kind of just attack the card directly opposite them until one of them dies. And in the top left here is what's called their level. So we've got a level 1 card, a level 2 card, and a level 3 card. And you have another mechanic at play that we'll see shortly, which is called morale. And the morale value of this group of enemies is going to be half their levels added together. So in this case, it's going to be 3 in total. And if you reduce the morale to 0 by getting rid of cards that add up to that number in their levels, the rest will run away, and you'll get fame for it as well. So we're going to engage these, and we're going to see how combat works here. So, you see the morale's adding there, which is half their level value.
Another way.
We can go straight to combat by that, or we have a chance here just to sort of take out someone, perhaps, or bribe someone to go away. And again, you can see the different cards highlighted at the bottom. We can actually use our fame on the or infamy on the henchman, get rid of him, perhaps. So again, if we hover that, we can see that we'll consume 2 fame, and he'll flee the fight. Seems quite pricey to me. What else can we do? We could steal. What will that do? We'll pickpocket. I don't know what that'll do. Let's try it. I have no idea what that'll do. Okay, we've gained a gold. Fine. And it says we can play any number of non-aggressive cards before the fight starts. So we've now got some money. We could bribe them. We can even see at the top of their cards there the cost to bribe them. So what we could do, we could use a gold here to bribe the henchman. and he'll now leave
Take
the
this
fight.
and get out of here.
And so he'll reduce the morale of the group by 1 for fleeing. That was his level 1. We've got this rat now who's level 2, and we've reduced that to 0. And what we can actually do here is kill him. Let's do an aimed shot, and we'll fire it at this, whatever he's called here. It'll do 3 damage. It's enough to kill him. Take this. Wang. Dead.
Right between
So he
the
reduces the morale by 2, which is taking it to 0. And so you've brought the enemy morale to 0. All remaining hostiles will now flee for their lives. When you trigger a panic, each fleeing enemy will grant you 1 fame, whatever their
eyes. Oh,
level.
come on. We were just getting started.
There we go. So that's how combat works. There's some other stuff we can do on this suspicious street now. We could just fire an arrow. What does that do? Gets us a gold for some reason. Survivor sense, golden food. We could try pickpocketing. Golden food, and enemies are added to the search party, so enemies are going to start looking for us. We've got this pepper diversion for a gold, or we could try eavesdropping again to get a gold. But if we do the eavesdropping at the market, we actually move to Noisy Tavern. Maybe we should do that. Let's move to Noisy Tavern. People keep mentioning a tavern nearby. Food, drink, good company. What more could a strapping young adventurer need? Okay, so it's talking about rest deck, saying, I think because Volepain is down to his last 3 skill cards, and when you rest it will restore 3. But we'll keep going for now. Noisy Tavern, what could we do here? We could try stealing. We'll gain 2 food, and people start looking for us a bit more. We have a peppery diversion, which looks like it's going to start a tavern brawl, which could be interesting. We've got this survivor sense, get some food. That seems to be our main options. If we use gold, we get 4 food. Which is interesting. Let's do this and grab 2 food.
Volepain decided he'd take that one to go.
Oi, someone just stole my lunch.
Oh, when you finished with that? Yeah, there's a badger looking for us now.
Friends of yours?
Okay, we're still at the Noisy Tavern. We have this card now called Solidarity of the Week, which we can use here. If we use this, we'll actually find some suspicious suspects.
Care to help a young bird down on his luck? Help with what?
We can try that card again. Discard 2 random creatures from the guard faction with max level 5. So that would get rid of that hungry guard who's following us now. We could use our fame on him and receive a snitch. I don't know what that does. Or infamy and receive a snitch. We could offer gold and receive a thug. We could shoot him and we'll get lockpicks. What else could we do? Pepper spray, what does that do? You know what? I quite like the idea of getting the lockpicks. Oh, we can use the local chit-chat. What does that get? We receive a thug. I don't know what that does. We try resting now. See if we get any other options we can do with them.
All right, back to work.
Oh, feeling better already. So we recovered some skill cards and suffered no other consequences. However, what's that saying? So on this rest deck, you get a certain number of rests per region. The last card, i.e. this one here, is always a fail for the scenario. So you want to try and only rest enough that that doesn't happen. Generally, the further you move down the rest cards, the expense of using them grows. So if we were to rest a second time here in this region, we'd have to use 2 food. Or rest, and each resting adventurer loses 2 health points to recover those cards. So we don't need to do that now. But there's like an increasing cost that comes with resting over time. I saw that we got in our deck a couple of the pickpocketing cards, which I do want. And so there's another mechanic now, which if a card you want isn't in your little selection of skill cards down here, you can actually highlight one, drag it over to your character card, and providing that the card you want isn't already exhausted, and in this case it's not, then it's free. Otherwise you have to spend a food to get that card back. And this is useful because sometimes you need specific cards and specific locations to get the effect you want, such as the pickpocket one here. So we're going to pickpocket on the rat, and we're going to receive a lockpick and a throwing knife. in our temporary consumables pile. Oh, now this could come in handy. There we go. So that's kind of what I wanted. Like I said, I have played this tutorial
Well, I
once, so I
hope
kind
you
of
have a
know a
good
little bit
lawyer,
about what's coming up
Volepain.
just in this bit. So now I think what we're going to do, we're just going to give our food to the beggar, and we're going to move on.
Oh, thank you, young bird.
Now, about this Timothy chap.
No, but of course, where are my manners? Here, follow this path.
That should show the way. Heartwarming stuff.
Thanks for the tip, friend. Good day to you, bird.
Well, what now? I suppose we should follow the old beggar's directions on that piece of paper. Sometimes you'll have to seek directions, blah, 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 blah. That piece of paper? Yeah, that one. Right, so we got a new card now. And this
Friends
map
of
card
yours, Volepain.
says that they're directions to Timothy, the contact we're looking for. The old beggar has marked the map with Timothy's location. All Volepain needs to do is find the nearest marketplace and follow directions from there. Well, I can see that this is a marketplace card here, but we've got a guard there. And I think it's the badger that we got chasing us before. So he's going to come here. He's not particularly threatening
How
on
much
his
do
own.
you think it would take for them to, you know?
Kind of, again, just suggesting that we can bribe him. He's a hungry guard, so if we offer him one... for one food, he'll just leave us alone. So I think that's worth doing. Food seems to be something we can get fairly easily. Right, we now have a free marketplace, and you'll see in the bottom right that the the map we got from the beggar is highlighted, so let's drop that here.
Another job well done.
A heavily bandaged figure stood alone in the alleyway. He looked like he was waiting for someone. As Volepain and Leo approached, the figure turned to greet them.
Ah, Leo. So you're finally here, and you brought a crow.
I'm a shoebill.
Ah, but of course you are.
We heard you have work.
Ah, do I ever? But before we get down to brass tacks, I always like to get an understanding of who it is I'm working with.
What do you mean?
I'd like a demonstration of the value you'll bring to this operation.
Demonstration?
Yes, you know. Skills, my boys. Show me your skills.
The pair looked at each other perplexed. What did he mean, skills? Skills in combat? Sleight of hand? Or maybe just a good old trick shot from Leo? Right, well, we're going to do that. But there are different things we could do, including this trick shot or pickpocketing. But we've got a couple of these aimed shot cards here, so we're going to use one of those. In one seamless motion, Leo pulled out his bow and let fly an arrow straight at the leper. Timothy felt a whoosh of clean air as the hat flew clean off his head. By the time he turned around, it was already pinned to a nearby tree. How's that for a demonstration?
A little dramatic, but a fine shot nonetheless.
Timothy turned around, picked up his hat and placed it carefully back on his head.
Well, I've certainly seen enough to pique my interest.
Then perhaps you could tell us what it was you needed.
I would like for the two of you to acquire an item for me. A very rare and beautiful lyre currently in the possession of Lady Cattell.
You mean the old bat who lives on the hill?
I wouldn't call her that to her face, but yes, that's her. I'd like you to break into her manor, steal the lyre, and bring it to me at the Holy Grove.
The Holy Grove? I know the place well. I'll get you there myself, Volepain.
Excellent. Then I shall leave you to it.
All right, we've got a job to do.
At long last.
We can get straight to it if you think we're ready to go. Or we could spend some time on the streets to prepare. It's your call. We've completed the region. We could proceed to the next, or we could spend some more time here gathering resources and allies. So a quick mention of what carries over. So consumables and resources, these bottom right cards, they're carried over from one region to the next within a mission. However, they're not carried over from mission to mission. So there's no need to sort of stockpile these things if we're getting towards the end of a mission. Everything's kind of self-contained within a mission, but, you know, worth taking as much as we can to the next region. And they've just brought another apple seller, so we could, for the price of 2 gold, get 2 food, or we could try intimidating him. Get 2 food, we could use our fame. 1 fame to get 2 food. I don't think that's too bad of an exchange, actually, so let's do that.
Always happy to give a free sample to local celebrities.
You hear that, Volepain? Celebrities! There we go. So just a bit more food in our pockets as we move into the next region. So we're going to click on the little thumb in the top right here, and we're going to move to the next location, the next region. Somewhere in the garden. Leo has brought Volepain to the city gardens, where food is plentiful and secrets lurk around every corner. Deep in the labyrinth lies our hero's destination for the evening, Lady Foretales' manor. Let's click on that, get this region started. Watch out, guards! So we have some roving guards in this region already. Several hostile creatures in the search party. The deck of cards representing the animals chasing your party. Each time a new location card appears on the board, if it has a search party call token with an eye, it may spawn a group of enemies from the search party. And it says may, so I don't know what the percentage chance of that happening is. I don't think it's explained to us. Right. So we have our... Oh, right then, Timothy said the instrument is inside Lady Foretales' manor.
The big house with the labyrinth.
Ah, that's the one. But getting through that hedge maze is going to be tough.
I think I saw some gardeners wandering around earlier. Maybe they'd know the way.
Right.
Seems you've attracted some heat, Volepain.
Okay, so we've already got 2 cards with guard icons on. And quickly to mention as well that it didn't refresh our skills that we had from Volepain. So a lot of those are still exhausted. We will rest at some point then, but we'll try and keep it going as long as possible and maybe concentrate on using Leo's skills for the time being. So this is our main objective. This is the Vegetable Labyrinth. Lady Foretales' manor is surrounded by a bewildering labyrinth full of wrong turns and dead ends. It's almost impossible to navigate without directions. So we have a couple of an orchard card and a patrolled garden card, both of which have enemy tokens on, so we have to deal with them before we can visit those cards. We also have a little gardener up here. He knows these gardens like the back of his hand, and if you're polite, he'll show you where all the best apples are. So we have, he's interested in some chit-chat, but what we want to do is we want to persuade him to join us. So can we use fame? We can consume 1 fame and receive the gardener. So this is the little guy that's going to show us how to get through the labyrinth. A little help?
Oh, sure thing.
Now all we need to do is lead the gardener to the labyrinth, and the rest should be easy.
Oh, we'll see about that.
What other location do we get?
All right, let's see what we have here.
Just saying that we can browse the location cards, but we need that.
There has to be a way in.
So here,
Oh, look, I can see some documents through the glass.
you think they'll be useful?
Only one way to find out. Let me see what I can do with this lockpick.
So the lockpick we got in the previous region, we're going to use that here on the locked greenhouse. A heavy chain blocks the way to the greenhouse. Breaking the glass would attract too much attention. There has to be a quiet way in. So we're going to use our lockpick. We're going to drop it on there.
Bravo!
Oh, this is like a map of the labyrinth.
But look, it's only the inner part of the maze.
Why can't anything be simple?
Well, it's better than nothing. I'm sure we can find thing to show us the way to the middle.
Or someone.
Well, we already have them. That's the gardener. What can we do here? There's a few actions we can do. Rallying cry. That will call a gardener. We don't need that. However, we have Survivor Sense we can use to receive some healing items here, so we're going to use that. Hey, this place is pretty well stocked.
Yes,
There we go.
that's
We've got
it.
a nice little deck of consumables down here now. No guards in this orchard. We could use Survivor Sense to get a bit more food. Maybe we'll do that. What's this? On the scent. Years in the wilderness have made Leo an outstanding tracker with a flair for sniffing out food in places of interest. Okay, if we use that there, we'll move to orchard and take some damage. I don't think that's necessary because I think we're doing okay in those terms. So let's we could try going to this patrolled garden. Let's look at these guards. So we have a constable who has 2 health and is level 2. And we have the hungry guard who is level 1 but 3 health. Let's engage them.
The City Watch were famously corrupt. One simply had to find the right bargaining chip.
So if we highlight them, we can kind of see what they want. And this constable wants gold. Or we have some more lethal options. Or this hungry guard we can lure with food. But he on his own won't be enough to make them flee. We need to concentrate on this constable, I think. So what I'm actually going to do is use our throwing knife that we stole from the rat. And we're going to kill the constable. Bonk.
Oof, he felt that one.
Right, so we get some infamy for that
Waiters.
kill. And we also get some fame for making the badger flee. So now we've got this patrolled garden. We could use the scent to move to an orchard, but I think we've been to an orchard. We don't need that. We could summon a gardener, I think. Don't need that. Need a pickpocket. Get some food. We're actually doing alright for food. Well, that's pretty much it. So I'll tell you what, I think what does this do? Move to gardener. Well, we've got the gardener. So what we're actually going to do now is move the gardener to the vegetable labyrinth card to sort of let him lead us through the labyrinth. We have an appointment with the lady of the house. Would you show us the way through the maze?
I've trimmed these hedges for many a time. Follow me.
That's quite a statue.
Oh,
What is it?
sorry, sirs. I'd rather not go any further.
What, you serious? We're barely halfway.
Oh, is this statue, sirs? Bad luck it is. Haunted.
The gardener backed away from the statue nervously, leaving Volepain and Leo alone. I had to admit it was a rather foreboding sight.
Great.
Shh, I think I hear a guard patrol coming.
Quick, hide.
Well, I hope you have a good lawyer, Volepain.
The patrol took up position right in front of the statue.
Patrols we can deal with, but how are we going to find our way through the rest of this labyrinth?
We found that map, remember? That should help us figure out the best route.
Of course, let's take a look once we've dealt with the watch.
So this just tells us about the hint system, which is over here. I don't think that's necessary at the moment. It'll just tell us we need to get rid of this guard patrol. So let's click on that, see what we're up against. So the tutorial is going to explain this in a moment, but basically, you see there's a little wooden token on this card, and that means that card has a power. And this card's power is to raise an alarm that's going to add a constable to the search party every round, if we were to fight them. We also have a hippo here who looks very much like the rhino, who looks very much like the rhinos in the Robin Hood Disney animation from I think the 1950s, which is used to be one of my favourites as a kid. They look very familiar. And this burly guard. So I think we have to engage them. So they have a large pool of morale. That's 4.5. That's just explaining
Perhaps
the
there's
power
another
on the
way.
card that I already mentioned. So, what can we do? Well, we want to get rid of some of the high value cards. There's a level 3 rhino here. We could... He looks like he could be bribed with gold. How much gold? Looks like all of our gold. Or we could get rid of, say, these 3. So this burly guard, he could be swayed by pickpocketing. It just says pickpocket. I think we get gold if we pickpocket him. Well, we might as well. There we go. Oh no, we got another healing potion, healing root. We'll do it again. Let's pickpocket this one. Oh, we got a gold. Oh, we got another one. I think we're going to be out of skill cards now. But let's pickpocket the badger. We'll get food. There we go. So, I know with the food that I can get the badger to leave. So he'll go. So 3.5 now on the morale. Dog of the watch. We could impress him with our fame. It would consume all our fame though to get rid of him that way. He's bribable with 2 gold. But so's the croc. So I'm going to get rid of the croc with a bribe.
Just as I suspected, they're all on the take.
And now we need to get rid of this dog. So I'm going to do the fame because we'll get the 2 fame back anyway when these 2 flee. So let's consume our fame.
No autographs, please.
He recognised us. So they panic and run. And we got our 2 fame back. Oh, right, we've got directions.
Then what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Okay, so we're going to drag this map to the labyrinth card. If I'm reading this right, we should be there in no time.
Good thing too, it's almost night.
Perfect timing. The darker, the better.
That's Lady Catel's manor.
Finally.
Hey, maybe that was the hard part and it's all downhill from here.
Wishful thinking.
It's getting dark. Time to get down to business.
Hold on a second, this could be our last chance to rest up. I need my nimble hands at the ready.
So that's just explaining that we don't always have the best cards that we need, so we can swap them, but I've explained that already. So we are going to rest. It's going to, in this case, it's going to add an extra guard card to the enemy pack.
That is quite enough laying around for the time being, thank you.
But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But I did get the nimble hands, so we're going to drag that over to the mansion card.
All right, let's do this.
Do what you do best. I'll cover the exit.
Under the cover of night, Volepain ghosted into the manor undetected. He darted through the corridors until he reached the main hall. There, in plain sight, stood the lyre in all its splendour, glinting in the moonlight. All he had to do was reach out and take it.
The second he touched the mysterious lyre, Volepain felt an ancient power flowing through him. Reality fractured and exploded into an infinite number of worlds, all identical and yet somehow distinct. Beyond the webs of fate, he witnessed all possible futures, resonating, vibrating, clashing. And then he saw, and he knew. He, his loved ones, his city, his kingdom, his world, everything was going to disappear, swallowed up by a cataclysm whose origin lurked behind the veil of possibilities.
The second he touched the relic, the sheer power of the visions caused poor Volepain to collapse on the spot. Leo took his unconscious friend on his back and fled the mansion, an army of guards at his heels.
Hang in there, old friend. We'll get through this. I'll deal with the guards and get you to a safe place. Volepain! Volepain!
You completed this mission with a few victims in your graveyard deck, that is true. For now, it won't change anything, but beware, if you leave a trail of bodies behind you, you may have to face the consequences later.
Another job well done! Uh-oh. Looks like you've got the law on your tail.
Victory. Volepain awoke in the forest of Ronsarai, his head throbbing. The lyre was on the ground beside him, but Leo was nowhere to be found.
Leo? Leo! Where is he? What happened?
At that moment, he remembered the visions.
What's this?
Before he had time to think, Volepain was struck with a vision of his friend in prison. A wave of despair swept over him.
Leo? Where are they taking him? Are they going to execute him? Oh, gods, please no.
This is a Doom event card. It symbolises tragic events that only Volepain can see and that will lead to the world to its end. The number above the Doom event indicates how many turns you have left before it happens, or at least that's if you do nothing to prevent it. Each mission you complete costs a turn, but don't worry, if you fail to complete a mission you can always retry with no time penalty.
I need to help him before it's too late. They must have locked him up in Isenberg prison.
This is a mission card. The choice of which missions you complete and the order in which you complete them is crucial to preventing Doom events from occurring. Missions also contain secret side objectives and choices, all leading to different outcomes. It's up to you to experiment and make the right choices to fight fate.
I'm coming, Leo. Wait, what the...
What's this?
Volepain was struck with another flash. The smell of blood, the clash of metal, the roar of a battle, a vision of a massacre yet to come.
The miners' strike. Father! Oh, the militia are preparing an attack on the blockade. Lady Cattell must be behind this. I have to warn them or they'll all be slaughtered. If I'm going to warn the miners, I'll need to find their leader, Cast. They won't budge an inch without his say-so. Oh, what have I done? It's this damn instrument.
Volepain looked at the strange lyre with disgust.
I wish I'd never touched this blasted thing. Ugh. Maybe if I give it back to Lady Cattell, that might smooth things over. After all, a fault confessed is half redressed. If I write a letter of apology and present it to the Council of Mothers,
They might be able to put pressure on Cattell and prevent her from ordering the massacre. Volepain looked at the lyre once more before packing it into his satchel. Slowly, painfully, he dragged himself to his feet. All right, Volepain, you can fix this. He took a look around in an effort to get his bearings. To his left, he saw the fumes of the city rising above the trees. To his right, the silhouette of the Ferris Mount shrouded in the acrid smoke from the mines. You better get moving. Your adventure begins now. Make your own choices and discover their consequences. Welcome to Foretales. Okay, so the lyre that we stole from the mansion, that's given Volepain the ability to see the future. And he can see bad events that are coming up. And he can also see ways to prevent them. So we have 2 turns to prevent the execution of our friend Leo. And we've got 3 turns to prevent the militia onslaught. So it seems obvious that our first choice should be to get Leo. And we're going to do that, but we'll do it in the next episode because, yeah, it just seemed a good place to stop. I don't know how long the next mission will be. I've only played this far, so I've no idea what's coming up next. But I do hope you enjoy this because it's a lot of fun to play. Definitely check it out if you're at all intrigued by it. It's on the Steam store. I think it cost about £15, something like that, so not too pricey. But yeah, so thanks very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, then please do hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. That would be amazing. And in the meantime, I hope to see you again for more Foretales. Bye for now.